First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this special edition Weather Impact Alert Day with 3 of us
in
here.
the same room.
Scary.
It's like we need a designated survivor. I know Tim and Ross are elsewhere, off premises. So we like everybody can't be at the State of the Union address. There's got to be a designated survivor. Also, a great television program. They're off site right now, so they're safe in case something happens in this wonderful digital room. I love this about the digital, that we can all get together. We can just talk about whether we are together, despite the 3 of us. Robert, Lee, and Lou. Lee, weather impact alert today, so kind of watching that. And Robert is going to be into the elements. He's got the rain jacket.
Favorite part of my job, get my degree, 20 years of experience, and still go outside, stand in the rain.
100%. Hey, listen.
That's why I like weather. The whole reason why you get into meteorology is to do that. So
absolutely.
Let's go.
And listen, if I may, who's making those big bucks in the industry? It's Jim Cantori.
Oh, that's true.
And that man could stand in front of a green screen.
I don't think we're going to get any thunder snow around here, though, today.
Not today.
Maybe not quite thunder snow, but cool, wet, dreary type of day, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hence the weather impact alert. So that's why we've been talking about this all week, for a week. And so we've seen this rain event coming, and that's what we're going to regale you with today. We're going to show you some radar, show you some live pictures around the First Coast where it is the worst right now, and then we're going to show you why it's happening, what's going to be happening down the road too. So we're going to have some forecasting fun here as well. But in the meantime, what a sloppy morning on Good Morning Jacksonville for the morning commute. We had accidents left and right on the interstates. It's just, I know you're a great driver, and if you're watching this, I know you're perfect. It's the other guy, right? It's always the other guy, so you got to watch out for them on these commutes. That morning commute side of things over. Hopefully, if you're at work or if you're working from home, wherever you're watching us, safe and sound, and you had no issues, you're not late, and that annual review process you've got to go through soon does not include a tardy because of the weather. But a couple of waves happening right now. In fact, we're getting into a little dry area around the First Coast as we scan and pan around our region, and a big wave, a big heavy downpour just kind of exiting our beach, and this was right over the 95 corridor up through Glenn County. Now we can see over towards Brantley, western Glenn County right now, still kind of getting those downpours heading over. I-10 is our corridor though, guys. I think that's what I want to be talking about a good bit, especially rainfall totals that we could get, the second line that's coming out of the Gulf over the course of this whole event. Parts of the I-10 area could get that max level of, I think, 2 inches is what we've been talking about, Lee, Robert. The morning, when we start our time lapse, right in that morning commute, boom, time frame, you got to be at work at 9, you were underneath it. Downtown was a sloppy mess, but a lot of us were, guys.
Yeah, and you had to go through the whole morning commute with everyone, get people through this mess that we're watching right now, and now that there's starting to be a break in the cloud cover, I don't think anyone would assume it's over because you still look outside, it's gray, you have puddles all over the place, but that concern about the evening commute now on the way too. And so that's why we also have Robert Speta here, because he's going to go out in the elements like we talked about. He's going to be out there for noon. And then also, Robert, the 90 as well. Where do you think you're going to head?
Right now, I'm going to go to classic flood-prone areas, San Marco, Riverside area. Because the big issue, and as we've been talking about, you got the rainfall we've been seeing all morning. We've already got about a half an inch. We could still see about another inch and a half on top of that. So we get that saturated grounds. And those areas here in downtown Jacksonville that once you get, they almost act like a sponge, and you get that sponge completely soaked up, and then you try to dump more water on said sponge, it's just going to run right off. So we're going to go to those areas that have that poor drainage where the sponge is already figuratively soaked, and that's where you'll be seeing some flooding. This is not going to be 2 inches all at once, as you probably can see outside, but this is persistent training effect, one round of rain after another. So right now, that's where I'm going. Or if you're watching and let's say your yard is flooding, or you got some localized flooding in your neighborhood, let us know at First Coast News. You can send us an email or check out our First Coast News Weather Watchers Facebook page. You can post it there. And maybe I might just show up in your neighborhood.
Robert Spetta in the yard.
Fantastic. Yeah. So
in your front yard.
Yeah. Well, this is Lou, I want to toss things over to you because we were just looking at that live look from Lake City, which is where we think we'll be first hit by that next heaviest round of rain. And you made a great graphic this morning going county by county. So would you take us through these counties?
Yeah. So we're thinking I-10 in north. As we go up to where Brantley Pierce, going to be in that less of a break, more of a pretty consistent, steady rainfall. I think we're kind of approaching, since we're here after 10 o'clock, we're talking about 10 to about noon, those who were in the break, right till about lunch hour, and then it's going to pick back up again. But where Brantley Pierce, day-long rain chances, I think 3/4 of an inch to an inch of rain. Got to have the rain gear handy all day today. Stay off the roads if at all possible, because I know in Pierce, Brantley County, we got a lot of secondary roads. We got a lot of dirt roads that you're going to try to drive through if you have to. You can't avoid it. Just extra caution today. And temperatures going to struggle to warm up much. So I'm mid-upper 50s wouldn't be surprising. Just stay in that level. Now temperature is not the big story today, but it is a story, and I'm interested in the kind of spectrum of temperatures we get as we go Glen, Camden, Charlton, Nassau. So all of our Golden Isles, coastal Georgia, and then our friends in Nassau County from West Nassau over Callahan over to our friends in Yulee and Fernandina Beach. You see your rainfall rates there, and a little more mild, but still struggling to hit 60. I-10 corridor here. So Columbia County, Baker County, Bradford Union counties, you guys, you're kind of in it, and you're going to get the next, you'll be the next up to get the heaviest rain, some blinding rain through our day. And, we talk about weather impact alert, and again, here's a reminder, so we're doing this 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. today within this very low risk of even an isolated thunderstorm, let alone severe weather. So we want to kind of cap that. We put these alerts out as actually a degree below even severe. It's where it's a nuisance. So you got afternoon ball practices. You've got anything that's going to be on baseball. Very unlikely you're doing that today. Call your coach and say, hey, coach, what's up? What's your thoughts? Unless you got the field house luxury, which not most of us do. We've been out in the sand lot. Duval County, even out to the beaches. So west side to the beach, we're looking at up to an inch of rain, and this is including some pretty big interstate corridors. So really I'm now focused in on from the 6 a.m. obviously we're beyond that to 6 p.m. that evening commute. So slow, rainy commutes, AM, PM drive is what I'm really focused on, because business is still going on. Low 60s, where official high was right around 61 degrees, and that'll be Jacksonville International Airport. Going a little bit further south for our friends in Clay County, St. Johns, and Putnam counties. Let me zero in on St. John's for just a moment, because, of course, 95 corridor. So we're talking about getting off at the 210 exit, Old St. Augustine Road from 210, their racetrack road, your big interchanges on 95 that people are going to be coming home in this, right? So getting to County Road 210, the IGP exit, man, that's going to be busy. And you just know that stretch from County Road 210, for some reason, even on fair weather days, that stretch of just straight road, I guess people just drive fast, all the way down beyond 16 to 207 to 206, and even the last exit of St. Johns County, there's just wrecks nonstop, right? And so I'm not putting it in the atmosphere. I'm just saying, let's be prepared for that. Slow down mentally today. And if you think about a couple of back roads, maybe today's the day you want to take 13 home, or you want to take Phillips Highway home, though I think there's going to be some backups there too. Sliding to Clay County and Putnam County, though, rain through.
Sorry about that, Lou.
Don't be sorry. It's A-okay. I'm just thinking about, I don't want to
skip ahead for you real quick, but keep talking about Clay. Go for it.
It's funny, because I had an email and a nice phone call with a woman who lives in Green Cove Springs, and she said, Lewis, you zip over Green Cove all the time. Give Green Cove a shout out and a little bit of love. So for her, and her name's escaping me, I'd shout her out, and for some reason Darlene's coming to mind, and that's probably not right, but for our intents and purposes on this stream. Darlene, God love you. Green Cove in that 3/4 of an inch sort of rain, and at this moment getting that quote unquote break, even though super overcast and maybe a little drizzly, sliding all the way over to Keystone, Middleburg. Robert's talking about areas that are flood prone. Middleburg certainly with Black Creek, one of those low-lying areas that you may key in. I'm not telling Robert where he needs to go. He knows better than anybody.
Well, I think like with Black Creek area too, you got to remember that the flood threat for them may not be right now,
true.
Right.
but more so tonight and tomorrow as everything kind of drains into the river there.
For sure.
That's something you're going to be watching out for those areas. So kind of multifaceted impacts with just persistent rainfall. But on top of that, I mean, we haven't got a lot of rain recently too, so a lot of this is kind of beneficial. And by the way, I don't know if you guys want to touch on this real quick too, but behind this rain, we're looking at another weather impact day for Friday morning because this is going to be the catalyst for just a big change up here, right?
We do. We have a lot of graphics for that too. So you are reading our minds here. Let's quickly go back to the graphics and we'll just finish up quickly
go down
with
to
the
Flagler.
Flagler.
And it's funny, and I mentioned way back 8 minutes ago when I started my diatribe about counties, I talked about the spectrum of temperatures, and National Weather Service was talking about this, and it was fascinating. It's just interesting that, we're forecasting a high of 61, but there are places in our viewing area very well could get very near 70 today. We're very close to a warm, cold sort of stationary front. Warm air is to our south. And we've also more or less got this trough with this low pressure that is causing our training. It's a very interesting synoptic setup. But for our friends in Flagler County, not as much rain. Half inch may actually be pushing it if you're watching us, say, in Palm Coast today. So there's our counties, and Lee, our big weather impact alert graphic here. Going to stick with that 6 o'clock time frame.
Yeah, exactly. We started at 6 a.m. going through 6 p.m. to get through these commutes. That's our biggest concern. Unfortunately, we had accidents this morning. We are concerned about our evening commute as well, and that's also why meteorologist Robert Spett is joining us now, and will be out there today through the 6 o'clock commute as well, watching the 6 o'clock hour. Widespread rain. So right now, some of you are getting a break from that rain, but more rain is on the way. Another wave is coming out of the west, so that is why we do expect more rain again during that evening commute time. So please today, if you haven't stepped outside yet, maybe you're working from home or you have the day off, whatever it is you do. If you're home with the kids, today is not the day for the playground because, again, even though right now it might start to calm down, the playground gear is going to stay damp, and we have a lot of puddles out there. It's just a gross day, and then more rain on the way. So please don't forget your rain gear. If you do have to step outside, try to keep your plans indoors, and please, of course, drive carefully. So our rain chances, we've had widespread rain this morning, but those rain chances do stay elevated through the evening. And although you see that general trend of rain chances go down, we have already talked about how we think we might see a little bit of a peak again when that second wave comes through later on, late afternoon into the evening hours. So again, we're not done with this yet. Another round, you can see here, this model is representing that break that we're starting to see too, but it's not a complete break. It's not drying out completely. We're going to continue to see these showers move over our area throughout the afternoon hours and then into the evening. And as we talked about where we think our southern counties might see the least amount of rain, Lou, Robert, maybe places like Flagler County seeing the most amount of rain later on in the afternoon and evening hours.
That's a good point. And then, if your day involved thinking, I got to go down I-4, the evening trip to, maybe you're taking a long extended weekend at Disney, you're going to run into perhaps even a better chance of some storms there. But our interstates, I'm telling you, so you're going out I-10 and you got to go up 75, or you're making a flight to Atlanta or Charlotte. I mean, this is all a part of a much bigger system that's bringing some pretty bad winter weather to the Mid-Atlantic. So we'll keep that in mind for your flight plans if you were, say, taking that American flight up through Charlotte. Looking at those rainfall rates, we've kind of hit on that. We're saying the top end, that 2-inch level, is for a full day, not at any one period of time of rainfall rates, but that would be kind of an aggressive top end, especially along I-10. And Robert, you mentioned beneficial rain. Can you explain to us, we see in the drought monitor here, why we're calling this beneficial rain?
I mean, outside of just, your gardens and all that, my yard looks putrid. They're probably less to do with the rainfall and just my poor lawn management skills. Sorry, HOA. But also things like our aquifers and stuff, something that farmers really depend on. If you get too long of dry conditions, those can be depleted, and it eventually, maybe not right away, but does have impacts on them too. So when we get these kind of persistent rainfall days where not only just those local showers, because a lot of times if you get 2 inches in 20 minutes, it just runs straight into the river, straight into the sewers. But this stuff almost soaks into the ground. It goes back to the sponge thing I was talking about earlier. So when it soaks into the ground, it does get into the aquifers, and that not only helps out your yard, your garden and all that, but just in general, our aquifers and our local farmers and everything like that. So this is beneficial to kind of get those water tables backed up to where they should be for this time of year. So yeah, that's why, it's these persistent rains that we like this time of year, that it just kind of soaks everything. Doesn't flood, albeit too much can cause a little flooding, but it's not coming down too fast, right?
Very good.
I wonder if anyone else has issues like I had, because we've been dry for so long. Robert, I don't know if you heard this. I was complaining to Lou. I woke up this morning and my chimney's leaking. So, I don't know if other people have had issues like that this morning too, where we've been dry or we haven't had such a large amount of rain over a long period of time to see some of these issues. They start to arise again. So my driveway was starting to flood and my chimney's leaking. So a lot of fun things to look forward to when we get off work today.
Potential place for Robert Spetta to be live.
I can
Go to
live
my
in your
house.
living room.
Robert Spetta live from the chimney. You know what? Since we had a little bit of that wintry precip and rain that in the middle of January, but I'm thinking, Lee, this is probably residual impacts from Santa Claus coming down that chimney. And I would write a letter to the North Pole. Obviously, don't be naughty about it, because
I don't want
I don't want to upset the big guy.
No, I do.
But accountability. Accountability
You can't.
from the big guy. You might want to lay off the snickerdoodles. Santa.
Don't be mean to
I
him.
know. I'm sorry.
Come on.
I've got all year to be good. I got to be bad sometimes. All
Start
right.
on the naughty list, then move over. Got it.
So we're looking ahead. We've got getting beyond this. Robert alluded to this ahead. Today is story one is our rain. Right, but story 1A, just one level down. And I want us all to be tuned into this. Our job is to prepare. Our job is to keep things on the front of your mind. Behind this system is a good surge of some very, very cold air.
And Lou, sorry, real quick, if you wouldn't
Please.
mind me just throwing this your way, because as we're moving on from the rain, we have one Facebook comment. Jackie wants to know, when will it end? So just pressing home that point that our
Jackie!
impact alert ends at 6 p.m. tonight.
Yep.
And then Lou, take it away with the cooler air.
And it'll be a pretty abrupt end, too. So by tonight, we're saying 6 to 6 because we're hyper focused on the commute. There may still be some lingering drizzle out there. And Jackie, I'd love to know if you comment one more time where specifically you are. We could probably get even more specific with that timing. But 6 is a good round number. It's when most people are trying to get home for dinner time. And it's also lining up with when most of the rain, 90% of it, will have moved offshore and more towards our northeast. So we'll watch that very carefully. And then the abrupt end ushers in some pretty strong northwest winds. And we remember kind of those northwest winds. Think if we're in Jacksonville, those are winds coming from the vicinity of Atlanta and coming from cold places that have cold temperatures already. So that cold blowing in some cool air. Thursday, we're going to struggle to get to the mid and upper 50s. Now, morning time will be layer up weather at 42, but that's not going to be the coldest that we get. In fact, some of the coldest temperatures we've had since our January outbreak of frigid temperatures is going to happen Friday. So notice our dawn temperature of 31, 32, that freeze point. We're going to see a lot of us will have a freeze. In fact, so we've got the freeze watch in place. I'm trying to think, have we gone up to the freeze warning timing yet? I guess we haven't quite gotten there yet because we're Wednesday and we're talking about Friday morning. So no, that wouldn't have happened, but we will. And so a good portion of our area in that freeze watch, especially west of 95, getting away from bodies of water. But we'll we'll have it again. And of course, with the freeze comes frost, and then Friday does not rebound. The cold air with those winds, you're talking about, Robert, you mentioned wind chills, right? So with those strong winds coming out, generally out of the north, but northeast as well at 15 to 20, what are we thinking with a low of around 31?
I mean, just simply doing the math for it, we could be into the mid-20s in spots.
Yeah.
And that's not to say it's going to continuously be mid-20s, nor does the wind chill going to make a hard freeze for you. But if you step outside Friday morning and you're wearing a t-shirt, it's not going to feel great.
You're going to Florida. I know a lot of people are going to want flip flops because we've had, and that's why we're putting weather impact alert for Friday as well.
Right.
Yes.
I was going to bring that up because Robert, you had said you wanted to issue a weather impact alert. Absolutely warranted because of this, the freeze that's possible again.
It's the whiplash effect here that I think is the big issue. We've been into the 80s. We're getting that rain today, and then in a couple days, a lot of people already may have started planting. They're getting a little ambitious here, especially after a nice rain. And there's a potential, maybe not near the beaches, but for a good portion of the first coast of at least a frost, right? And then you're talking about the wind chill. A lot of people put those winter jackets away. They're going to go out in the shorts and the flip-flops and be surprised a little here by Friday morning.
Yes, and you said, maybe not at the beaches with the frost, but it's breezier right along the coast too. So then, as you mentioned, the wind chill's even worse. And, I don't have kids, so I can't speak to this, but you two do. And I know a lot of kids will fight to wear their jackets. And I assume Friday morning is one of those days that you got to just struggle to get them in that jacket, but they have to.
I don't know. My son's weird. He wears a winter hat in August.
Oh, he's like me. I'm cold all the time.
He's like, aren't you dying? No, I'm good.
It's fashion, okay, Dad?
Yes.
Fashion.
He'll be warm.
Good.
Yeah, my kid's my older child. It's his birthday today, by the way. He's 12.
Happy birthday!
I had to interject that. He's a biker. He's one of the walker bikers in the neighborhood. And so it's mornings like today where my wife and I are texting constantly. I know everybody at home with school-age kids doing the same things. Like, do I take them today if they're a biker? Should I just drop them off? Do I have time to do that? It's that scramble. So hopefully you had the heads up. The rain was coming. You knew. I'll probably drop them off at school today. But, yeah, we will highlight Friday in red. We're looking at those winds. That wind, a good wind, 15, 20 gust, if you get that. That's a frost. It can be a frost preventative, for getting the widespread stuff. However, when your water does not care about wind, the miracle molecule, when it is down below 32 or at 32 and below, it will solidify, and that within the various capillaries of plants can cause some damage internally to those plants. So this is Friday morning was frost or freeze. We're going to need to protect the pets and the plants and the people. We're going to think about those folks, and we're going to take extra care with the heating of the homes. We had that several house fires through the month of January, so let's have that in mind, especially folks that we know and love who may be a little more sensitive to it. And maybe don't have the best insulation in their homes. Let's take care of them as well. So Saturday morning, I think, as we look ahead, we could get 41 with the low there. If we keep that cold air in place, there are some areas, I think, in inland southeast Georgia that might be dealing with a little light frost as well, because that cold air will stick around. And then, gosh, guys, 7-day forecast. I mean, how can you can't
I'm looking
be mad
at
for too
Tuesday.
long. Yeah, can't be mad for too long, right?
But as Robert said, the whiplash. So we're going from a high of 50, which means, again, all day mostly spent in the 30s and 40s, to moving into the 70s by Tuesday, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, it's that time of year, right? It's our spring weather season in February here on the First Coast. So you get a lot of those ups and downs, and we're here for it, right?
Yeah.
So, I pulled this up. This was the Climate Prediction Center's temperature outlook for February 25th to March 1st. And they do have us highlighted just barely, likely a chance of being a little bit cooler than normal. But as we just saw on our 7-day forecast, we are frigid to then slightly warmer than normal, or near average to slightly warmer than normal. So it has been quite a month.
So
this
funny.
graphic is
Look
great.
at that.
This graphic is great.
It's
Interesting enough, like today below, we could highlight Wednesday below normal, Thursday below, Friday below. So we're going to have a solid work week of blue on that calendar. And, seasonable averages have a way of working themselves out. And it's just statistics. I mean, so our February, while our afternoon highs have been running about 10 degrees on average above normal for the time of year. Again, February is going to February, and we may actually, I don't know if we're going to balance back out to normal necessarily, but it just kind of like January sort of rebounded towards the end a little bit. We're finding February may bounce back towards the colder side a little bit as well, though looking ahead, again, looking all the way out to Tuesday, as we'd mentioned, with those 70s possible. You know what I blame for all of this? All the folks, and there's people within this building who asked, "Oh, Lewis, is winter over?" I blame them.
I mean, you were just talking about the latest freeze. You just had a graphic yesterday, right?
Right, the last possible freezes. I mean, speaking to our Georgia counties, that goes into May. Your latest frost.
Wow.
Their frost was all the way into May. So we still have to watch for the potential for frost into our spring months.
And luckily, we're approaching, and my rule of thumb, I'm not a gardener, Robert Lee. I did peppers once. I was going to do a salsa garden.
Oh, very cool.
This is a while ago. But I'm like, I'm going to wait till St. Patrick's Day. Wait till we throw on all our green and we celebrate that wonderful holiday and have a big party. And then I was going to plant my cilantro and my peppers and my tomatoes, and I'll be ready for some salsa by Cinco de Mayo, I hoped. So I was thinking about
Awesome
that.
plan,
So
but-
there you go. St. Patrick's Day, I think, is the good kind of thoughts for your general planting needs.
And this is what you were just talking about, Robert.
I had no idea this was the next slide.
You're,
Queued
you're
up and ready.
reading my
No
mind.
idea.
You are reading my
Queuing
mind.
it up.
and
Let's say
love
I
it.
did know. You're welcome.
There you go.
Well, give it the lead. She's the
But
one who wants to talk about
take
this.
it away. Yeah, the record latest frost dates. Go ahead, Robert.
I mean, that's the key thing, is that winter's not over yet. And we get these ups and downs, as Lou just alluded to. And one thing, we were talking about averages there. And it's one thing we always like to say, it's averages, not what the temperature is supposed to be. I hear people say, oh, the average is 75 degrees. That's what it's supposed to be for this day. No, there's ups and downs all mixed in there, and they blend together, especially in the month of February. So the record latest frost here, that is March 20th in St. Augustine. This is the first time I'm looking at some of these here. I know Jacksonville Beach, March 31st. Wow. April 13th in Fernandina Beach. And at the airport, April 19th.
What's April 19th, guys?
And you notice how a lot of those are many years ago, too. I've noticed that. It feels like the earlier frost getting earlier and earlier. Lee, I'll let you take this one away, though, the record latest frost dates here.
So for Hastings, we're going later into April, April 23rd. Lake City's at the end of April. Again, like, as we just mentioned, these aren't the averages, but these are the records. So the latest we've ever seen it. Just something to keep in the back of your head. And then, as mentioned, when we move into Southeast Georgia, Brunswick, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Waycross, May 12th.
Love Star Trek.
8.
You really want to get that engagement on Facebook, don't you?
I'd love
We're
it.
just going for it.
I love it. I did a Star Trek, Star Wars like mishmash on GMJ a few weeks back, and let me tell you, that was met with color.
Got me off guard.
So, guys, thanks for doing that. We got a couple of minutes left. Lee, do you mind popping up?
Yeah.
Let's just look at radar one more time
Okay,
before we go.
I'm gonna jump out of the seat real quick. Y'all keep chatting. Let me go get that radar pulled up once again.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know if you wanted to. Are you able to backtrack it just with the
I mean,
clicker?
I don't really want
Right, you're right there.
Right there.
Amazing. Okay.
You're right there. Oh, and actually, we're starting to get some lightning offshore. Look at that. That's right over the Gulf Stream. So we're about 50 miles offshore. Warmer currents of the Gulf Stream. We're seeing those lightning pops.
If you're a boater and not like a commercial ship, but a straight up boater out there today, you just made bad decisions in life. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like taking the boat out, but
Sometimes you got to get your Wahoo on. You know what I mean? Let's get out of the Gulf Stream and see if the Wahoo are running. And maybe the old wives' tale is when it's lightning popping, the Wahoo are slopping. I don't know.
What?
I have no idea.
You know what a Wahoo is? Yeah, the fish, the game fish, sport
Yes.
fish. Beautiful animal. But that right over the Gulf Stream. So yeah, the radar picture, we are in kind of the little minor, and I'm going to underscore the minor part of this little dry slot break that we were talking about through about the lunch hour, but you're still going to get the pockets of drizzle and then the waves of heavy downpours out towards I-10 and Lake City as we
There's
kind of
that
wrap up our weather impact alert discussion here for the 10 o'clock half hour. We've got, I'll be joining our friends at First Coast Living at about 11:27 to do another live update with the specific Pacific radar. We'll be joining you at noon. I'll be in studio. Robert will be talking from the various neighborhoods and perhaps your driveway here on the First Coast. And
Yeah,
then,
so
of course,
please, again, send Robert your
Yeah.
locations
Yeah,
if you
It
see
makes my
flooding.
job easier. I don't want to just drive around. Let me know where the flooding is here.
Yep.
Can share those reports, and that way, not only can we get that on air, but we can tell people if there is flooding in your neighborhood. Let people know to avoid those specific areas, because that's what we're here for. Try to make your day and your life a little bit easier.
And I think Tim and Ross are right back here at 4 o'clock streaming.
Yes, they
so
are.
they'll be streaming there. All right, so if this is your preferred way of getting your weather information, so see it 4. Otherwise, all the other platforms of First Coast News. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your morning. Stay dry out there.